Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're gonna really kind of dive deep into something you might not even realize you're missing.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's the dark night sky.
Okay.
We're talking about light pollution and how it's robbing us of a really profound inheritance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For like most of human history, the night sky, it's been this incredible source of like wonder and inspiration and even practical knowledge,
Yeah.
But now for so many people it's gone.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like today we're using a bunch of different sources. So we've got some scientific studies, some cultural perspectives,
Right.
even some stories about dark sky conservation efforts.
I love that.
Just to kind of get a sense of what we've lost, but also what we can do about it.
Yeah, and what I think is so fascinating is how this like lost inheritance, it goes way beyond, just not being able to see a few stars here and there. It really affects, like ecosystems,
Yeah.
our health, even our connection to the past.
Okay, so to kick things off, I think there was this great story that really kind of brings this home.
Okay.
So back in 1994, when the Northridge earthquake hit Los Angeles, the whole city was blacked out.
Right.
And people started calling emergency lines, but not about damage or anything.
Oh, what?
They were freaking out about a strange cloud in the sky.
A cloud.
Yeah. They didn't know what this thing was.
Okay.
And it turns out it was the Milky Way.
No way.
I know. With the city lights off, they were seeing our own galaxy, for the first time. Can you imagine that?
Oh, wow.
A whole generation growing up and they'd never even seen the Milky Way.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's mind-blowing, right?
Totally.
And it's not just LA.
Right.
Think about it. Have you ever seen the Milky Way?
I think so. I'm not totally sure.
Yeah. So our sources say that about 60% of Europeans and something like 80% of Americans have never seen it.
Wow.
And that's because of light pollution.
It's a real loss, I think. Like that connection to the cosmos, that sense of awe and perspective. It's something humans have had for like millennia, right? And now it's fading. It's fading for so many.
It's almost like we're being cut off from a part of our heritage.
Yeah.
And speaking of heritage, let's talk about the ecological side of things.
Okay.
So our sources really kind of paint a pretty alarming picture of how light pollution is impacting the natural world.
Oh, yeah.
It's not good.
The problem is that artificial light at night,
Right.
or Alan. Yeah, it completely messes with the natural rhythms of, countless species.
Right.
It's a big deal. Take sea turtles, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Their hatchlings use moonlight reflecting on the ocean to find their way to the water. But with all the coastal lights now, they get disoriented and then they head inland, putting them at serious risk,
Yeah, it's sad. They literally wander off in the wrong direction because of our lights.
I know.
And it's not just sea turtles either.
Yeah, it's not.
Our sources mention birds too.
Right.
Especially those that migrate at night.
Oh, right. Yeah. Millions of birds die each year, after colliding with brightly lit buildings or communication towers.
Jeez.
It's sad, they're attracted to the light.
Yeah.
They get confused and they start circling and they just keep circling until they die from exhaustion or crash into something.
Wow.
And there are even programs now.
Really?
Like the Fatal Light Awareness Program, or FLAP.
FLAP. Yeah.
FLAP, yeah. They're working to reduce these bird deaths, by encouraging building owners to turn off unnecessary lights, especially during those migration seasons.
Well, that's like a giant bird trap. Yeah. It's unintentional.
Yeah.
But this, yeah.
And the impact, it goes even further down the food chain.
Right.
Our sources talk about how insects are affected by light pollution too.
Totally. It disrupts their navigation, their breeding.
Yeah.
Even their predator-prey relationships.
It's like if you think about, a moth.
Uh-huh.
Endlessly circling a porch light.
Exactly.
That's light pollution messing with their natural behaviors.
Right. And since insects are such a crucial part of the ecosystem,
yeah.
this disruption just ripples outward.
Yeah, like a domino effect, right?
Exactly.
You mess with the insects,
Yeah.
which messes with the birds, which messes with, everything, really.
Yeah, pretty much. And there's this really interesting story from our sources.
Oh, okay.
About Jackson Lake State Park in Colorado.
Okay.
They switched to motion sensor lights in their campground.
Yeah. And they did it to reduce light pollution.
Makes sense.
But they got some unexpected bonuses.
Okay, tell me what happened.
Fewer mosquitoes.
What?
Yeah. And less vandalism, too.
No kidding.
It seems like having less light actually made the campground safer and more pleasant for everyone, humans and wildlife alike.
Huh. It really makes you think about like how much light we actually need, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of needing or maybe not needing so much light, let's shift to how light pollution is impacting us.
Okay.
Because this lost inheritance, it isn't just about ecosystems or pretty views. It's a public health issue too.
It is. It all comes down to a hormone called melatonin.
Okay.
It's regulated by light and darkness.
Right.
And it's super important for our sleep-wake cycle, our immune system, even things like cancer prevention.
Okay, so what's the problem?
The problem is exposure to light at night, especially the blue light from our phones and computers. It messes with melatonin production.
So like my late night scroll through social media on my phone.
Yeah.
That's messing with my melatonin.
Totally. And disrupting melatonin, it's linked to all sorts of problems.
Like what?
Sleep disorders, stress, anxiety.
Oh, wow.
Even an increased risk of certain cancers.
Jeez.
It's like our bodies are being tricked into thinking it's always daytime.
Wow. I never really thought about it like that. I guess we're just so used to being able to like flip a switch and have light whenever we want that we forget that our bodies haven't really caught up to that technology.
Right. And it raises a really, really interesting question, Does all this artificial light actually make us safer?
I mean, I always just assumed it did,
Yeah, I know. But studies show that excessive lighting, it doesn't necessarily improve safety.
Really?
Yeah. And in fact, it can even create glare and visual clutter, making it harder to actually see hazards.
So it's not even making us safer. It's just there.
In many cases, yeah. It's a good example of how our intentions, like wanting to feel safe, they don't always line up with the reality of the situation.
Yeah, it's almost ironic, right? We add all this light thinking it's going to make us safer.
Right.
But it might actually be making things worse.
Yeah, it's kind of a head scratcher when you think about it that way.
But there's another piece of this lost inheritance I think we need to talk about.
Okay.
Something that's a bit harder to measure, but no less important.
Right.
And that's the cultural and historical connection to the night sky.
Absolutely. For most of human history, the night sky, it wasn't just a pretty sight, It was a source of knowledge, a guide, a canvas for stories and myths.
Yeah, our sources talk about how ancient civilizations used the stars for everything, like navigation, agriculture, even creating calendars.
Right. Think about like the Maori people of New Zealand.
Okay.
They had this intricate astronomical knowledge, and it was just woven into their entire culture,
Wow.
They used the stars for navigation, for agriculture, for timing their cultural ceremonies. Like the rising of Matariki.
Matariki.
Yeah, it's the Pleiades star cluster.
Oh, okay.
It marked the start of their new year.
Oh, wow. That's amazing how they incorporated the night sky into so many aspects of their lives.
I know. And they weren't alone.
Right.
Our sources mention archaeoastronomy.
Archaeoastronomy.
Yeah, it's the study of how ancient cultures around the world, they incorporated celestial events and objects into their architecture and rituals.
So like, they were designing things based on the stars and the movement of the sun and moon.
Exactly. I mean, some of the most iconic structures in the world, they were designed with the night sky in mind.
Wow.
Stonehenge, the Pantheon in Rome, they all show a deep awareness of the movements of the sun and moon and stars.
It really makes you realize that this connection to the night sky, it's something we've shared as humans for a really long time.
It is.
Like it's part of our collective heritage.
Yeah, but with light pollution, we're losing that connection. It's like we're closing this window to the universe, and we're kind of forgetting the stories that it used to tell us.
Okay, so we've lost a lot.
Right.
But But are we just like doomed to live under this perpetual twilight?
That's a good question.
Is there anything we can do to reclaim this lost inheritance?
You know, there's definitely hope.
Yeah.
There's a growing movement
Really?
to reclaim the night sky.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, and it's happening all over the world.
That's awesome. So tell me, like, what are people doing to combat light pollution?
Well, one of the leading organizations is the International Dark Sky Association.
Okay.
Or the IDA.
The IDA.
Yeah, they've been working for decades to raise awareness about light pollution and to promote responsible lighting practices.
Okay.
They even have a program that certifies dark sky places.
Dark sky places.
Yeah, it's locations around the world that meet certain standards for dark sky protection.
So there are places that are actively working to preserve darkness.
Totally, yeah.
That's amazing. So tell me about these dark sky places. Like
Right.
what kind of places are they?
They're incredibly diverse. You know,
Right.
they range from national parks and wilderness areas to entire communities that have committed to reducing light pollution.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a testament to the fact that people are starting to recognize the value of darkness.
That's awesome. Can you give us some examples of these dark sky places? Like I'd love to hear about some success stories.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One stunning example is the Air Rocky Mackenzie International Dark Sky Reserve.
Okay.
In New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yeah, it's a huge area with some of the clearest, darkest skies in the world.
Wow.
They even have a starlight highway.
A starlight highway.
Yeah, that guides visitors to the best stargazing spots.
Wow, that sounds incredible. I bet that's a popular spot for astro-tourism.
It is.
Are there any others maybe closer to home?
You bet. Right here in the United States, we have places like Grand Canyon National Park.
Oh, okay.
And Death Valley National Park.
Yeah, yeah.
Both have been designated as dark sky parks by the IDA, and they've put a lot of effort into minimizing light pollution and educating visitors about the importance of preserving darkness.
It's inspiring to hear that even popular tourist destinations are taking steps to protect their night skies.
Yeah.
It shows that change is possible.
Right.
But what about those of us who don't live near a dark sky place?
Yeah.
Is there anything we can do to help bring back the stars, in our own backyards?
Yeah, it feels a little overwhelming, you know.
I get it.
Like, sure, national parks, going dark, that's great.
Right.
But what can't, like I do in my little corner of the world to really make a difference?
Well, that's the good news, actually.
Well, okay.
Individual actions, they really can add up.
Okay.
The IDA, they actually have 5 core principles for responsible outdoor lighting that anyone can follow.
Okay, let's hear it. Like,
Yeah.
what can we do?
Yeah. Starting like tonight to reclaim some of this lost inheritance.
Right. So first, and this might seem obvious, but use light only when you need it.
Okay.
Timers, motion sensors, they're your best friends.
Okay. No more leaving the porch light on all night.
Exactly.
Yeah. What else?
Second, direct the light only where you need it.
Oh.
So shielded fixtures, that point downward, those are key.
So like putting blinders on our lights so they only shine where we need them.
Exactly.
Okay. I like that.
Third, use no more light than necessary.
Okay.
Consider lower wattage bulbs or dimmable options.
Yeah. You know what? I've been meaning to get some of those smart bulbs anyway.
Yeah, those are great.
So what are the last 2?
All right. Fourth is minimize blue light emissions.
Okay.
So go for warmer color temperatures in your outdoor lighting.
Okay.
Blue light, it's the most disruptive to wildlife and our sleep cycles.
That makes sense.
Okay.
And finally,
be mindful of your neighbors and the environment.
okay.
Avoid excessive lighting that spills onto other properties or disrupts wildlife.
So it's like the golden rule of lighting.
Exactly.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto your retinas.
Pretty much, yeah. And remember, every little bit helps.
Yeah.
If enough people make these small changes, it can have a real impact.
It's pretty amazing to think that something as simple as changing a light bulb can can be an act of reclaiming this lost inheritance.
It really is. And it's not just about the environment either.
Yeah.
It's about reconnecting with that sense of wonder and awe,
Yeah.
that the night sky has inspired in humans for millennia.
At the beginning of this deep dive,
Yeah.
You asked if we'd ever seen the Milky Way.
Yeah.
And after learning all this, it's not just about like seeing it anymore.
Right.
It's about understanding like what we lose ecologically.
Yeah.
For our health, even culturally, when we can't look up and see a truly dark sky.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to put it. It's about recognizing that darkness has value.
Yeah.
It's part of our natural heritage. And it's worth protecting.
Yeah. So to everyone listening, we encourage you take a moment to look up at the night sky tonight.
Yeah.
And if you don't see as many stars as you'd like, just remember that you have the power to make a difference.
You do.
Even small changes can help bring back the darkness and restore that sense of connection to the cosmos that we've lost.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of light pollution and the efforts to reclaim our night sky inheritance.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's been eye-opening, to say the least.
It has.
Until next time, keep looking up.